Paycheck to paycheck. That's how more than half have been living, especially since the pandemic. And they're also paying taxes. But what would those Americans say when they found out that 55 of the largest corporations in the United States paid no taxes last year? That includes FedEx and Nike. After deductions and exemptions, they ended up paying net zero. But they were supposed to pay $8.5 billion. Quite a big difference. Sounds like a joke, especially for America's small businesses that have been devastated by the pandemic and still had to pay the rent after earning nothing. And surprisingly, they now might be hit again, now that Biden is planning to raise personal income taxes that hit 95% of small businesses like a hurricane. A strange decision it is, letting big corporations off the hook while burying small business owners even deeper.
I do not think it's the right time, especially that we're in a pandemic. And as small businesses, we've done enough to survive this pandemic. And I mean, it's a troubling time for everyone now. And then for people to tax small business owners who are A, struggling, B, are finding creative ways to stay in business.
Over the last 40 years, that is roughly since 1980, there has been a systematic redistribution of wealth and income from the poor and the middle class to those at the very top. There are many more lobbyists in Washington than there are senators and congressmen and women. In other words, the majority of people working on legislation in the capital of Washington, D.C., are paid agents of large corporations. So you see that the control of the big businesses by giving donations to candidates and to parties, and by paying these armies of lobbyists, they have the influence to make sure that the tax system favors them.
But don't go rushing to say the world is unfair. Biden is also promising a tax increase on the very rich.
I have nothing against millionaires and billionaires, but here's the deal. We're going to raise the corporate tax. It was 35%, which is too high. We all agreed 5 years ago it should go down to 28%, but they reduced it to 21%. We're going to raise it back to up to 28%.
Ironically, though, is there really any point in doing this when companies are already failing to pay the current rate? Even when taxes on the rich were much higher, 18 of America's top 258 corporations still managed to pay only some of it. Seems like loopholes are quite friendly to the rich and powerful.
The whole tax problem, a bit of a theater, because behind it, the reality is the bigger the corporation, the easier it is for them to pay for the lawyers, the accountants, the economists like me who will help them escape taxation. The reality is that around the world today, large corporations have the ability to move their profits to wherever the tax rate is the lowest, so they don't have to pay high rates of taxation. If the United States has tax rates higher than other countries, they'll move their profits to other countries.
Some observers say that the Biden plan to tax corporations is just a farce and they don't really have any intention of making them pay. However, small businesses will continue to struggle. Caleb Maupin, RT, New York.